Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Bacon. Welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Video. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different in a video I never thought I would ever upload, but today we're going to be making some ban list predictions. This is something I was not ever expecting to make. I was expecting the ban list to have already been out, but guess what? It's not out yet. So we are here, and I've just decided to make my predictions because I have a few interesting predictions that I'm curious what you guys think about it. So let me know down below what cards you think are going to get hit and whether or not you agree with the cards that I say are going to get hit or unhit. So without further ado, let's get straight on into it. So I'm actually going to be starting off with the cards I think are going to get unlimited. There's a reason for this. I think they're mostly obvious what cards are going to get unhit. But let's go to things that I think are going to go to 3. The first and most obvious one, in my opinion, is actually going to be Gazelle. I think it's very, very obvious that Gazelle is going to be going to 3 very, very soon. If not this list, the next list before the new support comes out. They just announced SALAMANGREAT support. They're going to unlimit Gazelle to sell that support. It just makes sense. So I see Gazelle coming to 3. If not on this list, the next list afterwards. Next up, we have Pot of Desires. This card should not have ever gone to limited. It should never have gone to semi-limited. I have no idea why it's even still here. And while we're here, we might as well just talk about it as well. Recital Starling also should just go to 3. None of these cards are going to do anything. Recital Starling, usually you're just playing it at 2, and Bird Up isn't even good anymore. Well, no, I shouldn't say it's not good. It's good, but like it's not meta-defining. It's more of a rogue strategy. And without SIMORGH, it's not, or SIMORGH, however the frick you say it, it's not going to do anything. Both of these cards can go to 3. Nothing would change. I think at least one of them will go to 3. I think Desires is probably going to be going to 3. I could potentially see them, for some reason, keeping Recital Starling at 2. Both of these cards should go to 3. Nothing would change. So that was just a quick unlimit. I only see 3 cards getting unlimited. I could potentially see more, like, a lot more cards getting unlimited. For example, I could see, like, Change of Heart potentially go to 2. It's at 2 in Master Duel. It's not really doing anything. I could potentially see that. There's a lot of different cards I think could actually potentially be unhit or go to 2. Let's just get straight into the actual bans, because this is what you guys are basically here for, I can almost guarantee. This and the limits. What do I think is going to happen to the metagame? Well, the very first thing, I don't actually think a lot of cards are going to get banned. I don't think, if they ban cards, it would be around KASHTIRA or just some very annoying cards. I don't think they're going to directly hit KASHTIRA yet, because Photon Hypernova is still relatively new. They can still sell it. They're probably not going to be hitting Photon Hypernova cards yet, but I could potentially see them try to get a workaround and hit other cards. For example, the very first card I see getting banned is actually Diablosis the Mind Hacker. Obviously, very, very easily usable in KASHTIRA. Just look at your opponent's deck, banish 1 card from it. Very, very easy. It activates the effect of Shangri-Ira. I think Diablosis will get banned. Personally, I don't think it's the problem card of KASHTIRA. I think other cards should get hit, but I think it's a good workaround for them. I think Diablosis will be going to 0 very, very soon. Strangely enough, I only actually see one other card getting hit, and it's one of 2. I don't know which one will, but I see one of them getting hit, and that's going to be either Gimmick Puppet Nightmare or Branded Expulsion. For anyone that doesn't know how this card works, Branded Expulsion, I don't know its exact effect, but it basically summons 1 monster to your field and 1 monster to your opponent's field, from the both from the graveyard. And if you summon if you have a Gimmick Puppet Nightmare in the graveyard and you activate Branded Expulsion, you can special summon the Gimmick Puppet Nightmare to your opponent's side of the field, so that for the rest of the turn, since it got special summoned to their field, they are locked in the Gimmick Puppet monsters, so they can't do anything, because no one's playing Gimmick Puppet. I think the most obvious hit here would be just hit Gimmick Puppet Nightmare, because you still want Branded Expulsion. It's a new card, and you want Expulsion to actually be good and branded, but Gimmick Puppet Nightmare, no one's playing this card. Just work around it and ban Gimmick Puppet Nightmare. But I could see Expulsion getting hit. Only one of them needs to get hit, and I think Nightmare is probably going to be the one that happens to. Next up, let's go to the limits. This is where things get a little bit interesting, because I actually have 8 cards being limited. I think there are going to be a lot of limits, and one of them I want to talk about a little bit when I actually get into it. But let's talk about the cards that I think are going to be going from banned to limited first. I have 3 cards that I think are going to be going from banned to limited. The first one is actually, I think, quite obvious. It's actually going to be Blaster. Not where is he? Boom, there he is. I think Blaster is going to be getting unbanned. I don't really see him making... I don't see any of the Dragon Rollers making a big impact in the current metagame. I just don't think they're that good in the current metagame. I think Blaster absolutely can come off the list. They already unhit him in the OCG. They unhit him in Master Duel. He has not done anything. Blaster should absolutely come to 1, and I think we are getting a Blaster unhit. Another card that I think very easily can come back is, wherever it is, Glow Up Bulb. Glow Up Bulb has done, like, literally nothing in the OCG. It came off the list in the OCG. It's done literally nothing. This card can absolutely come off the list, and it will do absolutely nothing. The only other card I could potentially see come off is actually going to be SIMORGH. This card, without Stormwinds, this card is a lot worse. Yes, you can still summon Mist Valley Apex Avian, but I don't think this card with Apex Avian, it's that big a deal, because Apex Avian, literally all it does, it just returns itself to, it's an Omni Negate. It's one singular Omni Negate by returning itself to the hand. I don't think this card, I don't think that is enough to justify this card being on the list. Therefore, I think SIMORGH will actually come off. Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds was really the card that got this card banned in the first place. Just be able to very easily lock your opponent out of anything but wins. This card can very easily come off the list and would do almost nothing. Next up, let's talk about the cards I think are going to be going from 3 to 1. I have 5 cards there. Let's start with the most obvious one. It's going to be KASHTIRA hits. This is not right. There we go. It's going to be KASHTIRA hits. The very first one I think are... I will do actually 2 hits simultaneously. I think Fenrir and Unicorn are going to be going to 1. Personally, I don't think that's the correct hit, but I think simply because Photon Hypernova is newer, they're going to hit the cards that came out in Darkwing Blast back in November or October, whenever it was, I forget. But they're going to hit the cards that came out a lot earlier, the cards that are older, rather than the cards that are more newer and they could still sell. Fenrir and Unicorn seem like the perfect candidates for that. Personally, I think the hits should be Arise Hearts to 1 and Shangri-Ira to 1. Because since people are starting to main deck Kaijus, if you get rid of that one Arise Heart with just Kaiju in it, they don't have a backup plan to get that back on the field unless for some reason they like Reborn it. I don't even think KASHTIRA players are even thinking about playing Reborn. I don't even know if it gets the effects on if it's Reborn. I don't know, but I really think those 2 cards should go to 1. I could potentially see Shangri-Ira to 1, but I think that's less important. I think a Rise Heart to 1 makes a lot more sense, but because it's newer, they're going to hit some cards before that, and those I think are just going to be Fenrir and Unicorn. Decrease the consistency of the deck, and it makes it a lot more manageable to play against. Next up let's actually go to the spells. I see 2, potentially 3 spell cards being limited. I think one of them is, I'm putting asterisk next to one of them, but I also am I'm actually putting asterisk next to all of them because I could potentially see all of them being not hit at all. The first one is going to be Pot of Prosperity. We're seeing how powerful Pot of Prosperity is, and now the KASHTIRA players they're playing 3 Arise Heart, they're playing 3 Shangri-Ira. They can use Prosperity just to get a lot more consistency. We're starting to see it. This is a hit to a lot of decks, but I think it's a very, very good card to hit down to 1. It decreases consistency of a lot of cards, and just makes it not as amazing to play. Bringing this card down to 1 would solve a lot of problems with consistency with stuff, again, like KASHTIRA, that are already incredibly consistent as is, and just by giving them 3 Prosperity, you're already adding into that consistency. By putting Fenrir, Unicorn, and Prosperity to 1, you decrease that consistency immensely to the point where one of their opening hands might end on literally nothing. So I think these are good hits. However, I could very easily see Prosperity not getting hit at all. It's not really a problem card right now, but I think it's good enough to be limited to the point where they might be thinking about limiting it. The only other cards I could potentially see going to 1 is some Runick cards, either Runick Fountain or Runick Tip. A lot of people are saying Tip, and personally, I don't agree with that. I think Tip is a easy hit. Because Runick Fountain is like the whole, that's like the whole backbone of the deck. Just the fact that it's a soft once per turn, the fact that you can just play multiple copies of it, get multiple draw 3s, and just constantly be banishing your opponent's cards. If you put Runick Fountain to 1, it decreases the consistency of it a lot, and Runick is obviously an incredibly frustrating deck to go up against. I personally hate it. I hate going up against Runick. It's just, I don't like these stall decks that just try to mill you or stall the game long enough. It's the same reason I don't like going up against Exodia or Final Countdown. They just stall the game and just wait until they're the perfect opportunity to either deck you out or even worse. It's not very fun. It's not very good. Therefore, I think one of those cards will go to 1. Personally, I think it should be Fountain, but I could see Tip. I think one of those cards will go to 1, but again, Asterisk, I could see none of those cards, none of these spell cards getting hit, and I could very easily see that. Last up, there is one more card that I think could get limited. It is a trap card, and that is Skill Drain. We're already seeing putting Skill Drain to 3 may be a mistake. We'll just put it back to 1. Personally, I think it should go to 0. I think that Teekboo goes in Rivalry. I think all of those should go to 0. They're not fun to play against. Nobody likes to just have it flipped against them. They're boring and just terrible cards. They should all be banned, but sadly, we basically already know they are not going to be hitting something like Teekboo, because Teekboo just got a reprint in what is it, Wild Survivors. So I highly doubt we are going to be getting a Teekboo limit or ban. I think all of them should be banned and never come back, but that's just me. Maybe it's not just me. Maybe it's a lot of people. It's probably a lot of people. But I think first things first, Skill Drain to 1. This would be a good hit. It's just so annoying to go up against. You set up your turn 1 play, and then you just flip Skill Drain against your opponent. Good luck, have fun. You can't do anything. Lastly, I do think there is one more card that I think is weirdly enough going to be coming to 2. And again, put an asterisk on this one. I don't actually really think this card is going to start to come off, but I could see it, and that's actually going to be Time Seal. I see Time Seal getting semi-limited. The reason being is because, one, they just unlimited Yatagrasu. We are seeing it have no impact on the game. Nobody's playing this card because it sucks. This should have come off the ban list like 10 years ago. It would have done nothing, but it's now unlimited. No one's playing it. Why not just get rid of Time Seal as well? Time Seal does it for 1 turn. Yatagrasu can do it for multiple turns. Granted, Time Seal, it's less setup. You just set it and then activate it. But I think the game has gotten to such a speed where this card literally does nothing. If you are going first, you will not get... this card will not do anything until turn 4. It is way, way too slow because your opponent draws, then you can activate it, and then their next draw phase doesn't happen until turn 4. So if you're going second, guess what? It's even worse. It doesn't even happen until turn 5. This card does absolutely nothing. This card should come to 3. It should have come to 3 ages ago, but I think they're going to do that Konami thing where they slowly bring it off the list. They're going to semi-limit it and then be like, okay, nobody's playing it. Let's bring it back to 3. They're going to do that thing. I'm actually shocked they didn't do it to a lot of these cards right here, but they didn't do it. So I guess that's kudos to them. Maybe they're starting to realize semi-limited list is like useless, except for malicious. But that's it. Those are all the cards I think are going to be going to get either taken off the ban list or put on the list. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. Let me know down below whether or not you agree with me on a lot of my points and what cards you think are going to get hit or unhit on the list. So that's going to be it for the video, guys. Really hope you did enjoy. If you did, make sure you slap the like button and subscribe for more. Hope to see all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.